Hello, my lovely listeners. This is Lisa Hazard with We're All Psychic. To introduce this podcast with Angelina, I would like to discuss the audio issues. They were very interesting. As you listen to the podcast, you'll see a difference in the audio about 26 minutes in, maybe or so. And at another point, you'll hear it cut out, and you'll hear me, I think, say something like, "That was crazy. It sounded all distorted." And we'll have to listen to that later. Well, listeners, it wasn't there. It was just cut out. And I didn't stop the recording. It just stopped itself. It recorded a minute or so, a minute and 50 seconds, I think. And then whatever happened on our end, craziness. And then afterward, the program itself just decided to turn off the recording and turn it back on. So, hey, it's a psychic podcast, my friends. It's exciting. And without further ado, I'll let you listen to it. Thank you. Hello, this is Lisa Hazard and Misty Lure with We're All Psychic. And today we have a new guest that we've never seen or talked to before. Well, I've talked to her before. Her name is Angelina. Angelina, would you like to say hello?
Hi, everybody.
So, Angelina, we have a question for you. Do you think we're all psychic?
I do.
You do?
Yes, I believe that we all have the ability to.
And what is the ability, and from your point of view, like what do you think of it as?
Well, it's very. My perception is that we are infinite and limitless, right? So, I like the concept that there is no real roof or box, and we can explore within our senses and our imagination. So,
Oh, I like that.
Feel free to allow yourself to kind of be in an intuitive, creative space and see what happens. And I'm also a big believer in sound and vibration, and that with the intent and the focus, it kind of evolves from there. So.
That's right. And then so listeners, this is really interesting. What Angelina does is really hard to explain. So I'm going to let her explain it with the resonance and the sounds. Before the podcast, we're on Zoom, but she showed us her I don't know what to call them.
Crystal toning bowls. Yeah,
they're wonderful. Whatever. Yes.
Sound healing. So I do quite a few different things. Sound healing is definitely one of them, and hypnosis. I work with the subconscious mind, belief systems, and certain patterns with people. And I would say, like, the big umbrella is helping people with their own self-empowerment, self-awareness, strengthening their intuitive psychic abilities, connecting with nature and mostly themselves. And in that process, so we're developing all of that, and I work with angelic beings, light beings, so in the quantum realm a bit more. I've always had a natural gift, I guess, in that area. I didn't always think it was a gift. It was a bit scary when I was younger, but yeah. I used to see ghosts and sense things.
Oh, tell us about that. I want to hear about that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Can we start out with that, please?
It started when I was really little, and I had these memories that I actually used to kind of like play with an older man in my closet. It was like an older energy, and we used to play, and I felt like I was always flying downstairs. We used to have like 21 steps in our house, and there was just a lot of things that I remembered, and I always thought, oh, it's dream. Well, then you get older, and I used to hear a lot of voices and see a lot of energy, light, and I had a strong connection with nature and animals. But when I was older, so this house that we grew up in, my siblings and I, we grew up at different times, right? Different ages. And there was this one experience. I think we were all having dinner, but we all started talking about ghosts and aliens and things like that. And I remembered we all were kind of confirming that like there was some energy in the house. And then my nephew, actually, I think he was the one that described the ghost that was there, and it was exact to what I remember.
Wow.
There was like a certain texture to the clothing, like almost like plaid and things like that. And so that was really like, oh yeah, this is something
It's real.
to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there, I used to see auras and things like that. I still do. Now I understand everything a lot more. And there were definitely some challenges where I kind of shut my intuitive psychic self off at periods in my life because
Yes.
it was overwhelming and not completely understood because of my
Right.
emotions. And I was young and then getting older and like attempting to just be quote unquote normal or fitting into everybody.
Yeah. I think everybody does that. I think we all do that.
That's pretty
Yeah.
much we're all becoming more aware that like, hey, we don't need to hide.
I know.
Right, right. I love it.
So yeah. And then I was blessed with a family and a spirit mom, really. She's my one of my best friends, but she was interested in some of these polarity therapy and healing alternative modalities and stuff like that. So when I was coming to the parents and having nightmares and, just like seeing things or hearing things and then saying things that I just didn't, where did it come from? They're like, no, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh.
yeah. So
That's
they're really
good. Did they
Yeah,
have
they're-
experiences themselves? Were they working with energy?
I would say she definitely was. She started her own spiritual path a little bit later in life, but she started working in the healing arts. We both started out massage. She started doing that, but my father took us to a gentleman when I remember playing in his house. Actually, his name was Caruso, and he did polarity therapy, and it was out of the norm for a lot of people, but my dad's pretty he's cutting edge, I would think, back then, and out of the box, and he's into a lot of healthy types of things. And so
that's cool. Yeah.
He took us to see Caruso, and I remember I was still pretty small, and I remember I would go, well, they were doing what they were doing in the session, I would go play in his house, and he had a ghost in his house as well. So that was another experience. And I remember feeling the energy in his home and being around him. It was very calming and soothing. And so that was her first experience in he helped her with something. She had some inner ear issue, and that was the beginning of, I think, her seeking out polarity therapy and the alternative forms.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah.
And so
You're very lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I had a little bit of it then, and then but I was still doing me and trying to be with friends. I was kind of a jock growing up, and I ran away from it a bit off and on, like as I got older. I didn't really start my own practice until I was in my late 20s, early 30s. So it took me, like, I love to travel, and I would attract a lot of experiences.
Yeah.
And I had done some things that she was involved with meditation. And so I was in it, but not completely in it. So I would go back and forth kind of. And part of that was because of some of the experiences that I had when opening up to those different, like, it was a course called Training in Power, but different like shamanic experiences and other energies. And I never really focused on anything like people know, like Wiccan and things like that. That wasn't really, like, I was just kind of naturally, intuitively
with nature.
Yeah. And feeling it, and things would come to me. And there were some scary events that occurred in my process, because I'm also someone who is a medium. And like I said, I work with angelic presence and light beings.
Yeah.
And I live in the world of having communication with light beings such as Pleiadians, and I'm very much a quantum person. I like to work with them.
Knowledge.
Well, I just, I'm still learning. And I would pick up some stuff or be led somewhere, and then I would take some of it, and then I'd kind of go in a different path, right?
Yeah.
And then I'd come back around again, and it's kind of constantly like questioning, how does this work for me?
That's the fun part about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. There were times where it was scary too. I
Of
definitely,
course.
because not everybody, even my spirit mom she didn't, I remember we were doing like a basic Reiki thing together, and I was working on her with Reiki, right? And then all of a sudden it was as if something just kind of like started coming through that I didn't understand what it was. Um, and it was in a way threatening me. So in the mediumship world, from my personal experiences, it felt like I was losing myself, and there was other like language coming through, and
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
she picked it up like once something had shifted, and I didn't know what was going on. I was kind of like, whoa, this energy is intense. And I felt like I was losing myself in my own grounded state of human me, my physical body.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she caught it as we were in this, what we would call, like, from the healing arts, like a power transference. I was working with her, and she all of a sudden realized something was way off. And so she started saying my name over and over again. And I think what helped bridge me more so in being centered and grounded in my own self, my authentic self, was that I remember I spoke enough Spanish at the time where I was able to start speaking Spanish to get back to English. And it was like,
Wow.
so it was kind of a weird, like, oh my
Oh,
gosh, am I
yeah.
being possessed kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I didn't really understand, because I had this ability, and I have this ability to be a medium, and where I sense the way that these presents are, that are
You
these
get like
beings,
personalities and
right?
like what
And
they're about. And
maybe some of them, yeah. And some of them aren't I felt like I was kind of being taken out, or like certain things that
oh,
are just have,
yeah.
a little bit more of a negative intent. And so after that, I stopped. I shut down everything, because at that time I was just doing like Reiki, right? Simple,
Yeah,
like,
it seems like that's
And
such
that's scary. That's a
powerful,
scary
like,
thing.
yeah.
yeah.
So, and she didn't. So really, what was going on was my understanding of my abilities, and I had already kind of had a lot, being more sensitive. And I'm an empath. I'm highly
Yeah.
sensitive, and now it's
She does everything.
yeah.
Very.
So I have the ability to do a lot, yes. And so
You do. Like, I've never talked to anybody that could do all that.
yeah, I mean, and then so I stopped, and then I completely stopped everything. I
Yeah.
just was like, I just don't want to, I'm going to go and be normal again, back to that, like hanging out with friends, going to college, whatever, travel. And then it wasn't until a little bit later I started to get really depressed. And
I knew that was coming. I
yeah.
knew. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, have you guys experienced anything like that?
Yes.
Like, what is going on? And I was cocktailing and working in restaurants around the world, traveling,
Yep.
living life. And previous to that one as well, I had been in Europe and did some really interesting, cool stuff in Ireland, which is like a mystical
Ooh.
land where I
Ooh.
was testing. This was before the movie The Matrix came out, but I was testing some of that energy, like communication with all this cool, like, oh, nature, it's talking to me. I can feel into it. I sense.
Oh, wow.
And so I naturally kind of was playing in that world, but I didn't understand a lot of it.
Yeah.
And of course, they've got like, they believe in so much, and that is definitely a magical place for things to happen. So
Wow.
yeah,
I want to go.
I highly recommend it.
I want to go
mean,
too. I have half my family's Irish. I'd love to go
yeah,
there.
it's a mystical, powerful land, and I mean, I met all types of like witches and warlocks and fairies and things that came to me, and different, like, is this real? Is this? I was constantly like, is this real?
Am I alive?
Am I alive?
Did I go to fairyland? Did they
I did
kidnap
go to
me?
fair. I did. I swear, something like that place is. Anyway, so, but through like, so again, going through like this relationship with who I was, and that was like from, I would say, my teenage to late 20s. I didn't really understand a lot even at that point, but I was learning. And then I realized when I was really depressed that, okay, I was like praying and I'm like, what do I do? And I came back from one of my shifts and it was really not a good space. And then I remember I didn't want to go into massage school because it was like my spirit mom and my sister, they had done it. And it was kind of, I don't know, sometimes I don't know about you guys, but I tend to like the thing that I maybe need to do is the thing that I'm like, no for a while until it's just like,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
but
Yeah.
You're not stubborn.
it's too easy. Really? I got to make it difficult on myself. Let me try everything else but the thing that's right in front of me.
I know.
So I just remember I was praying and I kind of had a meltdown, and then I picked up a phone book and I like tossed it across the room because I was just really angry and upset. And then it opened up. I went over there and I walked over and it was just like staring at me in the face, and it was massage school. It was just like, boom. Here, let me really make this clear to you. And so,
oh my gosh, yes.
that was when I was like, okay, it's time for me to do this. And I made a very clear intent in my mind. I was like, whatever happens to me, because at that point I was afraid of my abilities. But I also, learned at some point that me shutting that down and stopping and trying to avoid it was actually making me sick.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And I didn't realize like I knew something was up because I was always really tired after, like, aside from the physical, like waitressing and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm a very gregarious person and I loved working with people and talking to people and doing all of this and moving around. I like to dance.
Yes.
My body. So that wasn't it. It was the energy of the environment and the fact that I wasn't really honoring who I am and seeking further and developing what that is. So,
how are you getting sick? How, describe to me, was your stomach hurting or your head, or tell me,
it was all of it. I mean, and I still I have to be really mindful about my physical, like my tummy aches or like just diet and things like that. But it was really emotional instability, I would say. It was a lot of
had that too.
It was mental, like, again, am I crazy? Are these my thoughts? Are these my feelings? I was just a density, and I would be really tired after certain experiences.
You're just drained, and you were like, "Am I? Is this energy, or is this?" Just
I mean,
everybody else is normal.
I had sort of a baseline though of meditation and being in nature. So wherever I was constantly going outside, hiking, walking. So I knew that was my way of dealing with a lot of what was going on. But there was something even deeper within my self-worth and like me being really negative to myself.
That's how I was too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, me too.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it was self-abuse in a way, but
it's like all you know though at that point.
Yeah,
it was like all I knew was just talking shit to myself, basically.
Right.
You're crazy. You're acting weird. You're doing
and
this
we
wrong.
do
You're
have
doing that wrong.
We have certain like insecurities and programs that happen when we're really young, and it's just like that kind of feeds. And this was then you add on that extra like energetic self-denial. So yeah, at that time, it was just like, okay, I'm going to be very, very clear about kind of in my thoughts at that time were reopening or opening back up very slow and steady, because I didn't want any other weird entities or, whatever was out there.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that I had certain abilities, but I didn't understand how to navigate
how to use them, how to block out the negative ones.
I went through that too.
Yeah.
So exactly. Yeah. So when I went and started getting into the back into the healing arts more and my power, like I took it slow. And then at that point, I always had my spirit mom there, and she was always helping to facilitate, and we would do stuff together still. Like she was always there, and I just kept it in a very small, like she was checking my polarity constantly, and so like I said, it was still a part of my life, but just not as much as
Right.
I sensed inside of myself my full capacity, my full abilities.
Yeah.
So at that point, I then found a woman that I work with today. And that has been something that has helped me in the concepts of what a lot of people believe is channeling or being a medium, and just like spirit itself, light, being light. I am a light being. And just different perspectives, and how perspective can change everything in relationship to the physical body and to the physical plane.
That's how Lisa looks for me. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Lisa taught me a lot of that.
Yeah, and it was like when for me, it sounds like Angelina, we have a lot of the same kinds of experiences, especially like the background in. I feel like you have this background in sciences, and like you studied them somewhat in school and stuff. You were good at it, weren't you? Like, is that where, like, for me, a lot of the conflict came from?
I mean, honest, I don't know if to be honest, I intuited. Like I've always been like somebody that it happened inside of me.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it was like what, and then the information came to me. So like again, my spirit mom, she was like, no, you're not crazy here. Or here's a book about like other light beings and people's experiences. And actually at that time later in life, when I was in massage school and doing all that stuff, things that were coming through me, I remember I was getting, I worked with a colon hydrotherapist, and she and we would do trades and stuff like that. So our energies were like awesome together, right? And I remember I was channeling something to her, or I was just receiving these words and this information. And she's like, Angelina, you sound like this group of people that I've been going and sitting with. And they were called the Larkma, they were a form of Pleiadian light beings.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can go off onto that a whole other world. That's more galactic,
like 5
right?
podcasts.
That next episode.
Yeah, regular.
Again, it's my.
I know, right?
Going back to what I do, it's really like it's kind of working within the quantum world and quantum physics, and and I've learned more. Like I feel like now, like the science is starting to talk about it. Some of the and like
open up,
at, like the subconscious mind, like people that like Bruce Lipton or the Greg Bradens, and I've also hearing some of, like, I like, in the simplest way, I think it was Jonathan Goldman said, like, healing is sound vibration. So we are all sound and light. And the intent behind it, right? So sound, your own authentic sound, your voice. So I also use the sound of my voice. I sing, and I do sing now in light language.
Oh,
yeah,
that sounds fun.
Do you want to do that for the podcast?
Yes.
Maybe not today. So
not today. Not ready. Not ready.
We can. Honestly, I thought we haven't talked about what we had talked about. We were going to talk about.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, this has just been great.
I know. So
I do want the
really
listeners to know what you do. That's just amazing. Like listeners, before about a month, it was about a month ago when we talked on the phone, right, Angelina? She explained to me what she does, and I'm like blown away. I can't put it into words. I didn't know how to bring it up, because she does these, like, the sigils. Let's talk. Maybe start with the sigils. I don't know. So yeah, explain that to the listeners.
Okay,
like, how do you work?
So once I got really comfortable with, like, oh yeah, this is who I am, right? So this is now years after massage school and doing my practice and living in New Orleans. So back then I was in the West Coast. I moved over across to New Orleans, and let's see. So again, I've always kind of just worked with my angels and guides and listened, and I constantly check in is, like, this is me, this is my authentic self, and making sure who's who and what's what. So remember, it's very clear to have a good intent. Like this, I'm working with the light right now, and light beings, and the vibrations and how they're different. Some of the ones that maybe are not the greatest energies, maybe that have a different agenda, they have a little bit denser vibration, or it feels off, or there's fear. So there's fear,
Okay.
and then there's light, right?
Right.
And so I got really clear about how to discern that. And then I also have, whenever I because I am someone that does like, challenging for me is grounded, centered in, I tend to be out there and
Yeah, me too.
all the different
Me
dimensions
too.
and the realities.
You're in good company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have learned that really the true power is in the physical, in the present, in the simplicity. Less is more kind of a thing. So I have a lot of people around me as well that if I need perspective, just to make sure that I'm connected. Yeah, okay, this is it. But my guides started, so sometimes they I get messages through where I feel energy more on my left side. So I'm right-handed, but I feel the energy come forward on my left side. And I'm someone that can see, I can hear. So all the clairvoyance energies and
all the clairs, yeah.
all the clairs, yeah. Clairsentient, all of it. So I get information in different ways, and it's always through meditation in a way, but also the expression of art has come forward. And I never considered myself like someone who was an artist. I didn't take art class aside from high school, but I felt like, I was like, I want to touch and make color on paper. So I went and got some pastels. I intuitively was led to pastels, and I started to create my own stuff. And then all of a sudden I realized my guides were communicating to me sort of in another form, where it was like, here, let me write this down. And what is this? And then all of a sudden I realized things were coming through me that were reflections of what was next, or what would be a real, like, almost like a sign.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And like one of the first pieces that I had done was, I actually thought I'd show it to you guys because I don't think it's on the site. So this, oddly enough, it's very abstract, right? And there's lots of little swirls, and this ended up being like the pathway into tuning forks, which is sound healing. So that was so that was kind of how I was led. And I'm like, what is this telling me? But I understood it, right? It made sense to me.
So listeners, she just held up a picture that she drew. They can't see you because we're a podcast, but listeners, she held out a picture she made. And it's very colorful. There's a lot. I want you to, like, the listeners to know at this point, I'm going to use one of her sigils, one of these pieces of art, as the cover art for this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So you will get to see one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to let them know because they can't see
us. Yeah.
So how, with the tuning forks, how did that happen? Like, how did you decide?
So what ended up, it took me a bit to figure it out, but again, I was sort of intuitively led to that.
Yeah.
It just clicked. Like, I started to get more clarity, and then somebody that I was working with at the time, a client, had a specific one that I was looking for, which from the image, I realized I started doing meditations around the images and stuff like that. And, and I got more of a gold tuning fork kind of appearance. It started to show itself visually to me in my imagination. And then the next thing, I was describing it, and one of my clients was like, oh, and she had a gold tuning fork, which isn't really a common thing, but that is the tuning fork that it
was it solid gold?
No,
I'm curious.
I actually don't have it. It's not the one I have, oddly enough. But she had it, and that led me to Jonathan Goldman to work with his sound healing course, and just to learn more in that area. So that was
Right.
sort of like the way it happened. And then I started using tuning forks, and it just kind of expanded from there. Okay, so just to clarify, sigil, which actually in Latin is seal. So it's a symbol, and symbols are everywhere. And uh, some people have asked me if it's sort of like maybe demonic or dark in any way, because I think in the past maybe it's been related to dark magic, black magic, Wiccan, pagan, and that's actually not what it is. It's very much the focus is, it can be neutral, really. It's just opening opportunity for change using sacred symbols that have meaning, right?
Yeah.
So and these are the intent is, for the greater good, or the awakening of your own power.
Like
So
you were
it's
saying,
great.
another tool. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
another
not
tool, and it's
yeah.
using sacred geometry, which is found all over the world, and it's using particular images and things that are relatable in a way that is creation of light and life and love. So
That's
that
perfect.
is, yeah,
That's beautiful. Yeah.
that's really the focus, the intent, and the meaning behind these pieces.
Awesome. Okay, listeners,
Okay.
we had a really crazy interruption. The sound, we were just about to talk about her sound modalities and the way she works with resonance, and our audio, Misty
And
didn't hear
sigils.
it. And sigils
No.
too.
Yeah.
And the audio just went all kinds of crazy. It might still be in their audience, so you might get to hear some of the weirdness. I'm gonna try to trim it out, but
It sounded like a monster.
it did sound like a
Hey, you know
monster.
what though? I had the same experience with Lisa a couple of weeks ago, where I was hearing things and nobody else could hear it.
Yeah,
And
it's
it was crazy.
technology. Well, I mean, we
Is
could
it?
say maybe it's Mercury retrograde.
Oh, it could
I have
be Mercury retrograde.
I mean,
That's what
I
it
have
sounds like.
I have EMF regulators and stuff like that on all my devices,
Oh, cool.
and
Oh yeah.
I
What a
have,
good idea.
I've got my crystals out, everything. I think of everything because it tends to happen to me
It
a
does,
lot.
doesn't it? Yeah.
So
We can tell.
I just want to like put my hands on
Like,
your head and be like, don't let them bother you.
I'm one with the computer. I'm one with technology.
Yeah.
It's just really about getting my vibration to say, "Hey, we're amigos, okay? Like we can do this together."
Yeah. So yes,
But
let's go back.
I
Let's go
don't
back to
know.
the tuning forks.
So
What was
so we were talking about tuning forks, and and the sigils. So,
Yes.
anyways, I started working with tuning forks, and in sound healing, and I had known about the crystal toning bowls because I had one. I just had one, and then I started. Well, that was the thing that kind of launched me into doing sound healing, and it's a powerful modality, and everything is vibration, sound, frequency.
No joke.
And it's just, it's beautiful, and it works with bringing your brain waves into the calm meditative state, and allows for profound transformation. So now how I've wielded it all together is through sound healing, hypnosis, suggestive therapy, working with the suggestive mind, and shifting the belief systems which create our reality. And it's all
Love
for
it.
self-empowerment, and all about the psychic abilities and the intuition and things like that.
And healing too, I bet.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's healing. Again, going back to that statement, it's like with frequency, vibration, and intent, it equals healing. So really, and ultimately, like that we are a part of the oneness, the source, light.
Yes, I agree with
Which
that
also
totally.
has dark, the polarities, the two, but
It
at the
does.
same
It
time, like
does.
it's just one. Everything is coming. It's constantly in movement and
Right.
flow and creation, and
Yes.
So the sigils, going back to that, is that I started to. That was my way. I don't know, I guess I just started experimenting. So, and I use crystals. You know, we are crystals in our own, we have a crystal matrix inside of us and
Hey,
water.
you rock.
All of
That's what she's
and
saying.
all
Yeah.
She's saying you
You
rock.
You crystal rock.
That's
You
right.
crystal
You
rock.
crystal rock. Yeah. I always say I'm a spiritual rock star.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I even have a shirt. I had a friend of mine just make me one, spiritual rock star.
That's nice. I like it.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I think at the time I was also looking into the Kabbalah a little bit more, and like that was like I've never been one with, even though I do readings, so I can read people's energy, their auras. It was more natural for me to just read the energy than using cards,
Right.
the tarot,
Right.
the traditional tarot. But I incorporate that to the best of my ability. So I tend to use now a variety of things, but I have gypsy cards where I use my hand chakras, and I will occasionally, and then I use angel cards and just a bunch of different things for readings. But when I was working on a couple pieces for myself, I realized I'm going to do these sigils, and I didn't even actually know what a sigil was at that time. I was just doing this naturally. It was like, okay, I'm going to create these images and allow spirit to guide me a little bit here. And then I started using, intuitively knew what crystals I needed for whatever my intent was, my focus. And then I would use the sound and I would sing to them. And there was one where I actually made a life-size Kabbalah, and I had all the different all the little spaces, the parts of who we are. So working with more the flower of life and all of that sacred geometry, which I love.
Yeah, me too.
I created, and at that time, and still I do work with the moon cycles, but I would get them done, and I would have like 3 days where I would just really focus intently on creating the piece and having it talk to me and just meditating on it. And then I ended up doing putting it under my bed and sleeping on it. And so again, experimenting with all of this intuitive stuff that was inside of me. And that was insane, actually, that experience, because it was just like, whoa, like all for a higher state of awareness, better understanding of who I am and my abilities, and being in the experience of divine and all of that information and how I integrate that with my physical world. And so I've done it for a while. And then a couple of my clients, I think it was like 4 years ago, even actually, so even some of, there's a sigil that's on, if you go to my website, if you go to I can't remember, it's the program that I have up. There's a sigil on there, or actually there's a gallery, but there's a specific sigil that it's wild. It's got kind of sacred geometry imagery in it. Those were actually symbols to use energetically, kind of like a Merkaba or something like that, where I was imagining myself in these shapes, and they became more of like wielding patterns for energy and light.
Right.
And yeah, and it also led me on different places that I would go in my physical world. Like I ended up going to Sedona with that one. And so during that process and that time, I had a couple clients who saw them and asked me about them. And then I also intuitively, for one client, was like, this is what she needs. And she was more open and more of an empath, and it became natural for her. So I have kind of this thing where I'll create them, and it's led and it's guided by spirit, and I'm listening to my intuition to get the clarity and the purity of the message, and also the symbols that are coming through.
Yeah.
And so that was the beginning of doing them for clients. And then I like to put them underneath the bed. Not all clients will have that. There's kind of, it's sort of different for it is different for everybody because everybody's unique in their journey, right? So
Yeah.
but usually in my perception of it is that by putting it under the bed with the crystals, with the tuning forks, with the prayer, so it's very much a ceremonial process, and
Right.
it even inspires people having more of that self-awareness in ceremony, in honoring themselves, in prayer, in having an altar, having all of those things that are very, very powerful in stability in the day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a very inclusive process. It's bringing us in oneness with spirit and earth and
Wow.
and the outside world, right? And the mundane and things that are going on, so that we are interactive, because that's what we are. We're experiential beings.
Yes.
And that's how we learn and how we adapt, how we shift and how we change, and how we evolve in the higher vibrations or the clear perspective of that whole thing that I just said.
It's just amazing. It sounds like you like were drawn or pulled or just did. You just learned every technique or all these techniques to help whoever came
it's like
your
she
way.
had to. Yeah.
She
like, I mean, it was my path. It was for me initially, right? And so in the healing community, it's like the healer must heal before healing. Well, the healer heals and is healing themselves. You know, we're all healing ourselves. And working on ourselves, and we are healed in the process. So we are just, it's kind of one and the same. And so I started by having people put them under their bed, underneath, so you're not sleeping on it, because the crystals are on it as well. And, you know, and again, like I work the quantum field, so I can sense into what's happening a little bit more. It's working in my perspective, it's working with the subconscious mind in our dream state.
Because you talked me into it.
Yeah, it's interacting. It's interacting with your aura. So your energy body, right? And it's all set for the intent, the higher, greater purpose of your divine being. So, and when I'm working with clients, it's, you know, I mean, ultimately it's like strengthening their own intuition, self-empowerment, psychic abilities, but there are other little things, like it could be around relationships. So I'll just get a little bit, what's the fear? And then I ask divine and spirit to guide me, and then the images start coming through and the symbols, and I'll even scan on, you know, because it's a learning for me as well, a learning process. And especially with the angels. And
yes, I love my angels.
Yeah, I do too. And there's so many, not even just the ones that, you know, and not everything is written yet, or it's on Google or whatever, you know. And some of these symbols, they come through and it is completely like, that's unique. That's something that is created for this energy body and their divine path. So, you know, because we all are very similar and we have our unique way.
We do.
And so that's kind of how it has evolved. And then I weave in. So what I've discovered is that it's really important that, like, I'm working with a client, there's before and then there's after, and then there's kind of in between, because it's a nurturing process, it's a cadence, and things are different for everybody, right? So I'm kind of monitoring how this is integrating in their reality, and then we're taking some of the fears and the limited beliefs, and it's like, okay, let's work that maybe energetically, and we'll also create a script, you know, a hypnosis script around it, so that we're really tackling, we're approaching everything from
every angle. It's like you're going every angle.
It's like, and it's just like, it's like cracking the egg wide open for
you know what? It totally reminds me of something. Like you just said earlier that, you know, like in your body, you're everywhere. and I'm like that too. But you're also saying now that like the way that you interpret other people's spirit and what they're going through, you do the same thing. You're going everywhere with it. So it's kind of in tune.
Yeah, I'm approaching it. I mean, the idea too is that I'm in the center, I'm in the stillness and, balance. While it's sort of kind of coming up, like it's the holographic perspective. So it's coming up on a projector and I'm seeing it. And, it's like the colors become more detailed and sometimes it takes a bit. The beauty of it is that the more that I do it, the more I become, I guess, a master in myself, right?
Of course.
Right. And it's funny because it's really, I've done quite a few in the last 2 or 3 months. And it's because for someone who loves to move and is very expressive with dance and, physically working out and things like that, I sprained my ankle severely. So that universe was like, hey, you're sitting still.
Time to slow down. Let's try this. Let's try sitting.
So I really dove into working more of the sigils and honing in on that skill. And that, I mean, it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful for me. It's been beautiful for the clients that I've been working with. I understand how and why it's set up in a certain way where it's more of like a program. It's because it's a committed process.
Right.
You committing to yourself and, to working with me, and then me committed to dialing it in and flowing with it. So it's this dance, right, of the two of us. And that's how I've looked at working with people, is that we're doing a dance. And, we're working with that space between, and yet that's where we're communicating too. So it's not like there's no merging happening. It's just this real ebb and flow and how we're going to define and let grace like take over and see what it's a communication process. Right. And so, it's a delicate, beautiful dance. And,
it's the abundance of love.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting. I'm getting fullness of the heart, and a degree of, plentifulness is what
bounty.
And I love it. You're so psychic because I'm taking a bit of a pause with doing the sigils because I'm working on some hypnosis scripts as well. If you go to my website, you can download a few.
Oh, I will.
And where can people find you? What is your website? Inclusive Healing? Is it
.com? Yeah.
I'll put that in the description.
Inclusivehealing.com.
Yeah.
And if you want to email me, it's Angelina@inclusivehealing.com.
And I'll put that in the description as well.
Yeah. And
definitely, listeners, I would definitely go check her out.
So just to talk about the abundance part. So I have decided I'm going to make it more accessible maybe to more people in a certain way. So I'm going to do ones that are focused on a few of the scripts. And the one that was called forward first is abundance.
No, because I just drew that card for you. I made my own angel cards.
Look at us.
And I just drew it, and that's what it said.
Yes.
That's so great.
So I will be doing that in addition to kind of getting back into, because I can start moving a little bit more with my ankle now.
Good, yeah.
And so I am getting back. So I had to put the sound bath, the crystal bowls and the sound stuff sort of on the side, because I couldn't do them freely without being able to really move the way I wanted to.
Right.
And I was in some pain and I needed to rest more, but doing the sigils was easy for me.
It looks like you have a good habit here of like taking unfortunate circumstance that happens to you and looking for something to do with it that's creative. And like,
she does.
You're like, you could have just laid there and try ankle, but no, you took advantage of like what opportunity was there when your ankle was hurt. That's that's a great example that everybody can take from what you offer to teach them to not sit there and I felt everything sucks now. You don't have to, you can, everybody can just like find the opportunity in any situation. I think that's a lot of what you teach is a perspective shift to people who are stuck in one perspective and really want to change.
And that we each have our tools. It's I still have my challenges, right? And it's like, wait a minute, okay, I can choose to like get lost in that suffering, that pain, whatever it is, that discomfort, that
Right.
dis-ease in the body, um, or I can actually like look at it and say, okay, what's it telling me? The body's telling me something, that's talking to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
What?
Focus
How
on
can I?
something else. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just like, let's dive in and see what this is about, and like, okay, so now what am I going to do with this?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I love
And
that.
so that's kind of, yeah. And I mean, the sigils have been really powerful for my personal process and growth.
I can
And
tell. Yeah.
I've been really surprised because my clients are like loving them, and they're
They're
really,
awesome. Yeah.
they're,
And you have said to me
yeah,
on the phone when we talked, they all you don't know what this means to them until they see it. When they see the sigils you bring out,
yeah. I
they're like,
mean,
I understand this. You had
they
told me
said,
they would usually be
so I
like,
have
this
my,
makes sense to me. Yeah.
yeah, I have them send me their intent and their focus, or I'll start to see it in their aura a little bit. Um, and then it kind of goes from there. And then there's an integration. So I send, just to finish like how it goes down with a client, is that I'll do it, and then I will either fork it, like tuning forks and whatever crystals that,
Yeah.
kind of do my own thing over here, and then I'll send it to, because I work remotely in energy and all of it. So
Yeah.
I'll send it to them, and then they'll get it. And at this point, I may suggest crystals that they use. And I also, my goal is to get people interacting with their own intuitive awareness. So
Yeah.
I ask them, like, what are you picking up? What do you sense? What do you see for yourself? Go and maybe go look and
Yeah.
and ask. And these are the certain ones that this, like maybe particular symbols will be like, this is what you're going to need here, there. But I also really want them, they're active participants in this experience.
Right.
So
They
it's
should.
really
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's the belief, it's the faith. And even though we have everything we need in ourselves without any of it, right?
Yeah. But it's just a tool. Yeah.
It's the tool, it's the reflection, it's like building that muscle. Like you
Yeah.
Yeah.
would go to the gym and work out.
Working out. Yeah.
Yeah, or just it's starting a new habit and a new faith and a new belief, or it's actually not a new faith, it is just faith.
Yeah.
And then at one point you realize, oh, I don't have the sigil, or I don't have the crystal, or I don't have whatever, but I have my imagination. I
Mhm.
have my
I can
awareness.
imagine the crystal. I can just do
Yeah, I have
it.
my awareness. I have a vibration now that is harnessing, and it's saying yes.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
who I am, and I am connected to source. I am connected to the flow of life and creation, and
You're part of it. Yeah.
you are,
Yeah.
yeah, you are it. Like
Yeah.
it's all kind of what, it's one.
It's
It's
one.
That's
reflecting.
great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, and so we can say that, and it's just embodying the vibration and clicking into it when old patterns come up, or neutralizing them. Transmutate is a common way to say it, so that you are just living that vitality, and and that takes kind of reinforcement over
It does take
time. And
reinforcement. It's a good idea to use symbols
yeah,
and tools for that because
It
and little,
is.
they invoke
yeah,
healing. Yeah.
yes, and it's the little steps. So then they'll go through the process of either putting it in the bed, or I had one person where they had a yoga practice, right? And so it's like, okay, I want you to put it while you're interacting, because again, that kinesthetic, real energy movement type of flow is powerful for
Yeah.
retaining information, and the cellular memory, activating what we already know, our wisdom, and introducing new perspective that is
Yeah.
healthy. And yeah,
Mhm.
so it kind of ebbs and flows, and then we're working together to see, how is this going to evolve for you, how are
Right.
we going to keep going. And and it's usually about anywhere from people have had them under the bed or whatever, 3 days to a week to a month.
Just whatever they naturally feel. Or
And so and like I'm looking at it too, and I'm saying, okay, for at least this long, and then use your intuition, and I want them to let me know, like, how are things evolving?
It really helps to have somebody you can bounce this stuff off of. For you to be teaching that way, it's really unusual, and I think a lot of people could really learn the way you teach. How to open up your intuition. I'm serious, listeners. She's got a really good technique. Like everything she's describing,
she does.
These are all she's approaching every angle. So it's like you can reach just about anybody who wants to be reached in some capacity with some tool or some angle or some perspective. And I think that's just amazing. And do you have any? I know she has an appointment pretty soon, listeners. So we snatched the time from her.
I've got another 15, so we're okay.
Okay, good.
I love lots of space. I love lots of space. Well,
I do at this moment. I would like to thank our sponsor, Everclear, and they are a platform where you can talk to empaths and psychics, and you can find the guidance you need to create the life you deserve there. So that is also where I work. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the company because they are just wonderful and I love them. Thank you, sponsor. Thank you, my favorite.
Yes,
work for.
Thank you, two of you, for doing this.
And I'm definitely going to get in touch with you.
Missy's like going to your website right now. Probably you're hearing that.
Like I'm already booked.
Oh, awesome! Well, you guys don't live very far either, so you guys can make a journey down.
Don't tempt me.
And we can.
Joni tempted me.
I know. She's tempting. Joni and I love to work together. She's one of my.
I can only imagine how much fun y'all have. Yeah.
We really are. She's a beautiful being, and so
she is.
Joni was our listeners. If you remember, Joni was our yoga. She did our yoga podcast a while back.
Yes. Yeah. And her and I have actually, before COVID happened, we were talking about doing the
audio's going out.
Sound healing.
Oh, that sounds like so good. So good.
So we'll see what happens, like in the next.
Yes, definitely.
I'll tell you what, you'll get it together, and me and Lisa will head that way when it's ready.
It'll happen. It's going to happen. New Orleans. Yes. New Orleans.
It's only about a 5-hour drive. 5, 6 hours.
This is about 6 hours from here.
Road trip, easy peasy.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
So, Angelina, I just want to say thank you so much for doing this podcast. You've been just wonderful, and the information you've given me is just. I'll probably listen to this podcast a few times. Well, that audio experience, I'm going to have to explore that further. See if I can find anything weird. I'm going to take it in my program and expand it and slow it down and speed it up and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And listeners, I will, if anything interesting does come out of that audio, I'll paste it into the podcast too. If it's not, scary. If it's scary, I might do it anyway. No, it won't be scary. Anything coming from Angelina is not going to be scary. But thank you so much, and Misty, as always.
I appreciate the two of you so much for doing this. It's great.
We love doing it. It's a great time. And sweet to meet people like you and get to let people hear your messages. And I hope that listeners, you can take away as much as I have from this interview. It's been just great.
Mm-hmm.
And listeners, thank you for listening. Anyone to say goodbye? Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.